Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on.
The thing that, if you like, that catapulted the people knowing my name more than anything else was the FIFA game.
Yeah.
So the whole Cheers Geoff thing and how that came about. I mean, I'm one of the few people that I've got a catchphrase that I've never used myself.
Yeah, we were going to ask you about that actually. Young Jamie, who you've met, knows your voice predominantly from FIFA.
It's bonkers, that, isn't it?
Oh, I get X or Twitter messages from around the world. I didn't realise you were a real person. I didn't realise you exist. No, I've had this. I didn't realise you exist in real life. I did a piece for the Mirror a few years ago. We've done a survey. We've had a look at your social media feeds, and whenever I post, over 35% of the replies just say "Cheers, Geoff." And I have also seen a photo. Someone had it tattooed on their arse.
Cheers, Geoff.
Yeah, Google it.
So when you do that commentary, when you go in to do FIFA, how do you just go in with a million different lines and go, "Cheers, Geoff," and what a shot from? How does that work?
So this quickly. Sorry, this is a Jamie question. This is okay.
Yes,
so Jamie finds you fascinating for this exact question and this reason.
No, I knew the old farts wouldn't have a clue and don't play the game. So it was when Tom said Jamie's a young person.
Yeah.
When he said that, I mean, I don't know if you play poker, but I seriously suggest that you don't.
Don't, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your tell is way too easy. Way too easy. So you record all your lines, and so the commentary team, they're on a separate day. So my touchline reporter role, it'll be, I'd say things like, look, goalkeeper, he's clutching his hand. He may well have landed awkwardly, or he's just pulled up there. It looks like that could be a hamstring. I can tell you now, it's bleeding profusely or whatever. Not the hamstring, obviously. So I'll describe loads and loads of scenarios. At another day, at another time, Martin Tyler and Alan Smith were recording the main commentary, co-commentator, and the engineer said to Martin, look, we want you to pick up from the touchline reporter. He's just given some information. So there's no specific line. And Martin, being the pro, didn't have it written down. He said, okay. He said, who is the touchline reporter? He says, is it Geoff? He went, yeah, okay, fine. So Martin knows it's me, and he hasn't got anything scripted. And he literally, being the top pro that Martin Tyler is, went, that's interesting information, Geoff. We'll keep an eye on that. Not surprised you think that, Geoff, because he has been moving a little gingerly. So he did about, half a dozen like this. And then the last one, he went, cheers, Geoff. So then
that was it.
A random, I say random, don't want to do the guy or the girl a disservice. So I said, let's go with that one. And that was it.
And that's where it all came from.
Cheers, Geoff.
Okay, fantastic, Geoff. We're gonna take you back 32 odd years then. Okay. I want to know what is the main differences between 32 years ago and now. How much has it evolved? How much has it changed? Has it become harder?
The aspects of my job?
Yeah, of what you did for Sky.
Yes and no, I would say, is the answer to that. So the specifics of the role, when we first started out, you're basically interviewing players. And in the early days, and this is where social media has had an effect, most of the time the players or managers, specifically the players, were wary about what they said, and most of them were a little bit closed book. Not because they were worried about saying the wrong thing, not because they were worried about saying something that could get them in trouble. They were worried about how much the dressing room would take the piss out of them.
This is 30 odd years ago.
Yeah, they were more.
Wow.
They were more concerned about what the lads would say.
About what their peers would think.
100%. As you well know, there can be that kind of mentality, and that was their biggest concern. And nowadays, with taking control of their own profile, and because they have the platforms to speak, players will speak more freely, and they will be much more comfortable in revealing more about their personality. Do you disagree with me?
No. I thought it would be the opposite way around.
No.
I thought that back in the day, 30 odd years ago, I thought you would get much more honest, kind of raw, emotional, will tell you just exactly how it is because we're not worried about the Twitters and the Instagram absolutely coming for us.
You're partially right in that there were elements of that, and also players were much more welcoming. For a start, it was a smaller thing. There weren't the barriers. So I lived in St Albans, well, still do, and the Arsenal training ground, as you know, at London Coney. Quite often, because we knew everybody so well, I would get the Arsenal players to come to my house to do an interview on the way to training.
Can you imagine?
So it was, and they were more giving of themselves like that, and you didn't have media officers, and you didn't have agents, you didn't have an entourage as well. But at the end of the day, it was all about relationships, with players and with managers. We were getting them to trust us. Look, we're not trying to turn you over. Yeah. We're not headline hunting here. This is how it is. So they were more giving in those areas, which sounds like a contradiction of what I'm saying, but they were they were more conscious of the dressing room's reaction. They weren't bothered about what the newspaper said.
But it's also, back then, it must be the same as what it is now, is that you get some players that will give you some players that won't. So if you know you got James Maddison coming on, for example, you know you're going to get quite an honest, articulate response. Whereas if you get certain players, I see it and I see the post-match and I think there's literally no point. It's going to be, we go again next week, we gave it our best shot, and you just zone out and you think, I'll go make a cup of tea.
But that's society. That's that's the beauty of people, because they're all different and you have to approach them all differently. But I would also say some players say a lot, and this is not a reference to James Maddison. I agree with you, he's brilliant. Some players say a lot, but they tell you nothing.
Yeah.
Other players don't say very much, but they tell you a lot.
Yeah, that's good shit. Did you see, I don't know if you'd have seen this, Kobe Manu did an interview after the game at the weekend.
Yeah, with my friend and colleague, Pat Davidson.
He was phenomenal. You could, for an 18-year-old kid, he maintained eye contact, right?
Yep.
One, which I think is a massive thing to start with. But two, his answers were so calm, so measured, and that just reflects what he is as a player and as a person by the looks of it as well.
Credit to Pat there, because he downplayed his fabulous goal because of the result, because they didn't win. And Pat went back a third time and said, result notwithstanding, that must have been an amazing result for you. And then he broke out into a smile. Yeah. So it was I really enjoyed it.
Is this where the art of being a good interviewer is really, really important? And I bet you must watch interviewers on TV and just think, yeah, you know what you're doing. You're good, you are.
Yeah, but I love the art of interviews, whether it be football, it can be any sport, it can be anywhere. I'm always interested. I like the cut and thrust of it. And also, some interviews, they are flash interviews on the pitch, 90 seconds long. Others, a little bit longer. Sit-downs, you sit in it, it's a more considered 20, 25 minutes. And it's the construction of it, what you draw out of the person, where it goes as well. Rather than, some interviewers arrive and have a list of questions and an agenda, and they're reading it, which I don't like at all. Because they're thinking about their next question as opposed to listening to what you're saying. So when we're speaking today, we might go off at a tangent, which could be something you hadn't planned for, but actually makes for much better content. But you've also got to have the discipline as well. So say I take this off at a tangent, you can't just allow me to take your airtime. You've got to drag me back in.
So then sometimes you must be watching interviewers and you'd be pulling your hair out thinking, no, kind of keep chipping away there, or go there with it, or ask this question.
I look at it not because I'm looking to criticise the interviewer, but because I love the craft of it. Sometimes it's even a specific word or the way they phrase something, and I think, no, you've gone the wrong way there, because that has sometimes with certain people you have to corral them to where you want the answer. You've got to be word specific as to how you get the answer from them. You almost have to do a preamble before the question, which results in the question to get to where you want to go.
load it.
Yeah.
Come on, give
Just
me it.
Position it. Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.